One of the things that happens for footballers is when they retire from their career, it's just finding out what they're going to do next. And so now I go into academies and I talk to the players and the kids there and just basically tell them what it's like to be a professional, how hard it is, and you know what can happen in the football industry.
Dean Holness is a former professional footballer whose career has taken him from Millwall to Crystal Palace to the big screen in productions like Mike Bassett, England manager.
120%. Yeah, 120%.
He then returned to pro football with Southend United and is now a published author using his own experiences to advise future players.
I live around the corner from Millwall. I grew up there my whole life. I only moved about 15, 16 years ago. Going into secondary school and then going into Millwall at the same time was like a massive deal for me. At the age of 11, and I met a couple of good friends in there. I was there for about a year before being released. The guy who released me and a few other of my mates, within a few weeks he got let go because one of the players, well, one of my friends, he let go, a guy called Gavin McGowan, then went straight to Arsenal. The guy who did it got released, I guess, himself. So.
How did he let you go? I mean, how does that process happen?
My one was a bit funny. Me and my dad took me obviously all the time. I was only young. So when we get to Southwark Park, we're waiting there for about 10, 15 minutes and no one turns up. And we're like, something's going on. We should be training today. It is the right day. I'm panicking a bit. My dad's like, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry. Someone will turn up. Another 10 minutes later, he says, look, I don't think anyone's turned up. Let's go and go home. He goes, but we'll drive past the other place just to see if it's there. So we drive past the other place. And the guy was like, yeah, it's here. No one, yeah, well, you know, we didn't tell you, so that's it. He took my dad aside and just said, look, we're releasing your son. So my dad just got in the car and said to me, yeah, look, I don't think it's going to work here, son. Maybe we should look to go somewhere else. So obviously a lot easier than I guess they said it to him.
After suffering disappointment at Millwall, Dean played for semi-pro clubs Bromley and Dulwich Hamlet before being offered a trial with Steve Coppell's Crystal Palace.
I kind of just went to the training session. I never had an agent on that at the time. It was just me, myself. And I just went to, as I say, went to Crystal Palace's training, was there for about 4 months. And then one day he said, come in, I'd like to sign you. And I was like, great. And he was like, what's the going, he was like, what do you want in terms of wages? And I said, look, I don't know, whatever's the going rate for someone at my age. This had been the first time I'd ever been offered like a professional contract. So he said, yeah, it's about £400 a week for someone your age. I said, okay, it's fine. I was only a teenager at the time. So I said, yeah, great, brilliant, brilliant. And then he was like, on Monday, we'll sign that up. Come Monday, I walked in, getting ready to do my session and ready to sign up. And then he said, unfortunately, there's not much I can do about it. And in that weekend, obviously my parents had like a little party for me and everyone was like celebrating and pretty happy for me. And then obviously come the Monday, everyone was pretty shocked and didn't know what had happened. So I could only assume something happened between my club and them. So at the time I'd signed a semi-pro contract with Dulwich and there wasn't a ruling back then, which was the Bosman ruling had come in a year later. So there wasn't a ruling to say, oh, if someone was out of contract or whatever, then they could move. So my contract had finished with them, but Dulwich had an option on me, which meant they could continue my contract if they decided to or not. And I'm guessing they might have decided to. I don't fully know what had exactly happened. No one's ever come to me and told me what's happened. All I know is that one day I was signing, the next day I wasn't.
Football is a profession famous for being incredibly hard to crack and littered with thousands whose careers didn't pan out the way they'd planned. Dean now spends his time working with academies and supports charities like For Nanny and Bobby, founded by JOURNEYMAN, who's been organising events since he was 9 years old.
You dribbled a football. This football has travelled 50 miles.
50 miles. It was Southend United to West Ham.
What, my old team? Come on! From my old team to your team. Wow, that is good. This ball's done more than I've.
So I was 8. My nan passed away from bowel cancer. Now I'm a West Ham fan and Bobby Moore played for West Ham. And he died of the same disease as my nan. So I thought, why not raise money for the Bobby Moore Fund? So I originally planned to raise £10,000. And 6 years later, I've now got 310,000. One thing that motivates me is the people with me, the people that help me out, because if I didn't have those people, this all wouldn't be possible.
The lineups for the match between the Bobby Moore 11 and AFA Charity FC includes former West Ham midfielder Jack Collison, whose career was cut short due to an ongoing knee injury, eventually retiring in February 2016. At the age of 28, Jack is back at West Ham, managing their under-16 squad.
I mean, it was tricky to begin with, trying to find something to fill that void of not having that football fix every day. And fortunately, I fell onto coaching fairly quick after I stopped playing the game, and now I'm loving it. I'm improving daily. I'm quite far along down the line with my badges, and I'm looking forward to working with the young players, trying to help develop them, pass on my expertise, and obviously get them in and around that first team.
The experiences of players like Dean and Jack highlights the fragility of being a professional footballer, but also a desire to educate and support the next generation, not just in terms of the physical impact of the game, but also the emotional pressures of handling everything else.
You know, you could be at Man United and think, yeah, great, I've just signed another 4 or 5 year deal, brilliant at Man United, and go, right, that's it. 2 years into it, you get injured, you could be like, okay, now what do I do? If they look like they don't want me, and that this injury is now taking 4 months, 5 months, rather than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, what do I do now? Now I could be on the verge of not having a career. Hang on, this is the only thing I've ever done. My wife is now looking at me like, what are you going to do? We've got 2 kids, let's say, and then you're sitting there thinking, oh God, now I've got to really get myself on it. That money I've made, obviously I've spent a lot of it because I've just lived, and now it's not enough to save for the rest of my life. How does that work? So that pressure and that them same conversations happen through all of football. That's got nothing to do with how big the club is. That's an internal question to every player. So every player can go through a lot of pressure, and every player, we're all different, so every player can crack at different points. You pick somewhere for me and let's give it. Yeah, I hope this ain't recording. Yeah, we'll go top right, and then we'll go edit this one out. So I went for my FA intermediary licence, so obviously I can help people as in do agency stuff for them. But I want to do more than that, so I don't just want to be like someone's agent. I want to actually help them, you know, a lot outside of football, and we can help parents and everybody in football and give them the full understanding of what they're going into. And that's where we're, as I say, we're just starting it, and I can't wait till it moves on. It's really good.